we have a lot of work to do to win decisively.
Yeah.
And we must win decisively because Nigerian selection, there are many variants and variables. Everybody has said, that's a good thing and you felt,
Yeah. So we've been following it before. We've been following the matter for a very long time. Myself on the diaspora crew, the Edo diaspora crew. So we've been engaged from a leadership point of view. So that's why we please be as organic, as natural as possible, because the people that are going to be watching and enjoying the conversation are mostly young people in the diaspora who have no idea what leadership is. What's going on for the Edo State, right? So there's two things first. So we're in the diaspora, the Edo State community in the diaspora have been engaging Edo citizens for close to 10 years.
Edo citizens at home.
In the diaspora.
Yeah.
Trying to leverage on our culture.
So that means that the Edo citizens in the diaspora have been trying to gather together as many of our citizens, or the younger ones.
The younger ones.
When you say young, what's the age brackets?
Between 18 and 25.
Okay. Are you much older than 35 years old? That means you won well.
Thank you. So, relatively the young ones. It's a compliment. People say I don't look that far, so I'll take it. I'll take it. So part of what we're trying to do is look at the leaders that are impacting these other people, attribute them to a level of ACE. So we actually call them Nigerian ACEs, and then we'll have one-to-one conversations with them.
Okay. So as you help with the young ones, so they have a fair idea of what we're doing back home. There's not all doom and gloom. Things they keep hearing and the doom and gloom things. They don't hear the good things,
There's a fear factor that we try to
understand that. Yeah.
Right. So we built two platforms that help us address those things. The first one is the new Nigerian.
Okay.
Right. And then the other one is the Nigerian Network. So these are two organizations registered here in the UK.
Nigerian. And the Nigerian Network.
But the difference will drive our conversation, so it's impact.
Okay.
So the first one is the new Nigerian, and then the other one, the Nigerian Network. Both have been based as TNN. So the podcast and the conversations and events we do, it's under one brand of TNN. That was also more platforms. Fortunately, my partner couldn't get so we were about work with politics, so it's just me.
Who's your partner?
David Arabo. So we gave the Arabo. He went, you know you very well. As our big process, growing up young. And please don't take that for granted. We know you very well from when we were growing up. And we followed category for a long time because there are very few people who we see as leaders growing up in the room. We know the ones who are linemen, we know the ones who are just regular guys and all that, but there are a few that we put American points of leadership and we focus on them and their progress. Like I said to you earlier, we don't do it from the point of view, we admire the political influences that we have. So the Nigerian Network is the new Nigerian is really about, we've identified this new breed of Nigerians that are coming up in the diaspora, giving them some level of enlightenment, exposing them to culture, exposing them to what's happening back home. And they're using the same approach to address Nigerians in Nigeria in the conversation that you can bring something new to. So I think that's where we need conversation from you as in how do you identify the Nigerian, what's the persona of the new Nigerian, what can be the attributes of a new Nigerian, especially with what is going on now in the country. That's one side of the conversation. And the other side is the networking side where we now build everything together as a platform. I hope that's a good foundation.
Yeah, okay. I think I get some sense of exactly what it is you're doing.
Please, any questions you have, that's in the conversation. I don't have set questions.
So
we'll
take you from there. Okay. I can't unleash you. You give me much time to get ready.
Most time. So that's to be prepared.
Always be prepared. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right. So I'll start with saying thank you for the opportunity, for giving us your time today. We know you've been very busy. We've been tracking you since Thursday. Here, down to Germany, and I don't know when you go back in the last night. I'll just go straight into it. So from your point of view, right? Based on all you're saying, everything you're saying, everything you're doing from a leadership point of view, do you think there's a new wave of Nigerians coming through?
When you say new wave of Nigerians at every level.
At every level, both diaspora, at home, and just
I always say new wave from what perspective.
I'll say from an innovative point of view. Let's talk about innovation.
I'm sure that I will say I see a new wave. I'm not sure I'll say so. What I probably would say is that I noticed that there's a lot more interest in governance. There's a lot more interest in politics. Even in business, there's a lot more interest in business from the younger ones, But if we go back to governance, I'll say that many people are now asking certain questions, how come we're where we are? How come we're not done much better? The resources we have. So those kind of questions have been asked, how come we don't always choose best people to leadership roles? So, and I think those are the kind of questions that the younger ones, like you say, the 18s to 35, the younger ones, the kind of questions they were asking themselves when the BDM movement took root. Wow. They were kind of asking themselves, why are we here? I know you developed from certain things that you chose that were happening, and then they thought, okay, let's try and force a change. But so for me, from that perspective, I thought that was great, then our younger guys were getting fully aware. When I was younger myself, when I was my late 20s, my early 30s, I was equally aware. I was concerned. If you recall from our history, in 1993, on 12th of June, we had an election that was annulled by the military. And a few of us younger guys got up and said, no, can't do that. Can't ask all of us to get ready for an election, prepare, line up and go and vote. After we finish voting, the results are coming out and then you stop announcing results. And a few days later, you say you annulled the election. So that's unconscionable and not acceptable.
You were an activist, you were some kind of activist or something.
Yeah, that's where I was trying to get to.
Okay.
So we then had this group that was called concerned professionals, young professionals really, primarily in the late 20s, early 30s. And some of the things we did was talk vocally and about the unacceptability of what the military was doing in the democratic process. We were always issuing press statements, or trade adverts and things, and we were very vocal, very vocal. We had rallies, we had marches. Many times we were having our marches were dispersed by military police or policemen on horseback. I can remember a day clearly on myself and Pastor Tony were chased down by horsemen, and we had horse kicks, and things like that. So for me, that we had this wave again last year, a few years ago, culminating in last year, and it was really great. It was great for me. I thought, for a while, young folks hadn't been as aware that I would have loved them to be. So we went through this test something on years ago, and so I'm glad that young 20s and 30s are helping them do this. It's important, because we can't continue not paying attention to the quality of governance we have. That's it. And for a long time in Nigeria, we haven't been paying attention to the quality of governance. And I say this all the time I speak. If you want to employ somebody to work with you or for you, you take them through the mill. Interviews, tests, checks, where did they work before, what did they do before, how successful were they at what they did before, how loyal, how honest, how serious were they. You take references from who they worked with before. How come we want to choose president of Nigeria or governor of the state? Just choose anybody. And the reasons then become not rational but more emotional. But if you're choosing someone to work with you, your reasons are always rational. And it doesn't stay emotional.
No.
But when we want to choose leadership of our country, we all go emotional. And then we expect that the country will be better. I don't understand, So those are the things that bother me and make me happy that the younger ones are now paying attention. And we need to pay attention so that we can move from
this is the new thing we're talking about. You see when we say the new wave of this innovative Nigeria thing, the very young ones. They're fully aware. They're fully, aligned with.
I don't know how to call it a new wave or a wave, but it's fine.
The reason why we kind of capture this new because if we look at the data, for instance, we've been on it since 2020, before the inside being kicked off. We were having these conversations about what's the persona of the new Nigerian because we knew we lacked leadership. We knew we lacked not in all sectors.
But for me, I always define it as leadership that loves the people.
Okay.
So attributes of it's strange. We've had people that started off strongly, they capabilities of good leadership and traces of good leadership.
That's true.
And something went wrong. And that's something that goes wrong is what we all need to sit and identify. Something goes wrong. And I can name names, I don't name since the 1950s, to today, which is, nearly 80 odd years, or 70, 74 odd years. Would provide good leadership, but something at some critical junction, something goes wrong.
So something missing in the process of leadership.
Goes wrong. So I don't know whether it's our environment that doesn't allow leadership to stay true, or whether there's something else that's the Achilles heel of leadership in our environment that doesn't allow them to do the things they should do, and then at the appropriate time step on stage. I don't know what it is, but we've had all these problems and we should start thinking about it very seriously. How do we do things differently in Nigeria? Last year, for instance, 2022, my own feeling was that we must work within political parties to ensure that each party brings out its best candidates. At that point in time, 12, 3, 4, 5 parties, each bringing out quality candidates. Then, philosophy then becomes the issue in a decision making when you go to vote. Because you know that any of the 4 or 5 can give us a good Nigeria. But then it's the path to that good Nigeria that may differ. Or the way or direction that may differ. And you know that they will do their best, But if the parties each time don't give us their best, they throw up much less than their best. Then when we get to election time, if we don't twiddle there and twiddle down, you don't really have much of a choice. And that's the problem. And that's what I keep saying. Is there a way in which we can get our parties to get serious about giving us their best people? Each party has good people. Very many big people. But over the years, leadership of choice.
No, it still was the overarching keynote is still leadership. If the party are not getting invited, and we're not getting invited, if we don't create the environment, which is what we discussed about initially, there's an anchor point that's still key from the leadership point. Because those things you mentioned, if we don't have the right leadership processes, the right leadership channels, and then
on paper, our process will be good. On paper.
It will take a level of leadership to enforce it.
On paper, our process will be really good.
Okay, let me catch you up on this.
So, if you want to define leadership in your own terms, let's even declare.
Fair enough, right? The ability to inspire, right? To drive a vision, and to empower people. Those 3 key attributes in a leadership can inspire.
Right? I think that the first thing they really
that would be great.
That would be, you must love it.